Why Amish gardens get better every year while modern ones fade. You walk into any garden center and it feels like a casino for gardeners. Bright bags, promises of miracle growth, and $20 here, $30 there. But in a quiet corner of rural America, an Amish farmer is feeding his soil with something you and I might throw away: horse manure. No bright colors, no branding, just results. Their soil gets richer every year while chemical-fed gardens degrade. Why? Because synthetic fertilizers are like fast food for plants. A sugar rush followed by a crash. But manure defeats not just the plant but the soil, the microbes, the worms, the entire underground city. I've seen gardens treated this way produce for 40, even 50 years without decline. You want a garden that lasts, that feeds your family and your soul? Don't feed the plants. Feed the soil. The Amish figured that out 100 years ago. We just forgot. The $0 fertilizer that beats $500 store-bought blends. Most gardeners spend $300 to $500 a year on fancy bags of fertilizer. NPK ratios, chemical names you can't pronounce. But a single horse produces 35 to 50 pounds of manure a day, 18 tons a year. That's garden gold, and it's free. You don't even need a horse yourself. Many stables will give it away just to get rid of it. Unlike chemical blends which wash away in the rain, manure builds structure, moisture retention, and feeds soil life. I knew an old farmer who never bought a single bag of fertilizer. His secret? A wheelbarrow and a shovel. He swore by it and his tomatoes grew like weeds. Don't believe the marketing. Believe your soil. It knows the difference between factory-made and nature-made. The best part? It's not just cheaper. It's better for your garden, your health, and your pocket. The 4-year crop rotation that keeps soil young forever. Most gardeners plant the same vegetables in the same spot every year and wonder why yields drop and disease spreads. The Amish don't do that. They follow a 4-year crop rotation: corn, beans, squash, and rest. Simple? Yes. But genius. Corn takes nitrogen. Beans put it back. Squash shades weeds and loosens soil. Then the land rests under clover or ryegrass, rebuilding itself. It's nature's rhythm, not a man-made schedule. This system breaks pest cycles, prevents soil exhaustion, and keeps things balanced. I visited a family using this for 30 years. No bare soil, no chemicals, and their cabbages were the size of bowling balls. The beauty is, anyone can do it. No tech, no apps. Just a calendar and some good habits. If your garden's been getting weaker, don't add more products. Change your pattern. Sometimes the oldest systems are the most sustainable. Why chemical fertilizers are killing your soil without you noticing. You can't see it happen. That's the danger. You spread a bag of synthetic fertilizer, your plants perk up, and you feel good. But underground, the microbes die. The worms retreat. The soil structure collapses. It becomes dependent, like a junkie needing its next fix. I knew a neighbor who used chemicals for 10 years. First it worked. Then the soil hardened, the pests came, and nothing grew right without more chemicals. That's not gardening. That's addiction. Compare that to horse manure. It's messy, yes, but it builds life, not just growth. The best soil I've ever touched was almost black, fluffy, smelled like fresh earth. It was alive. That's what chemical fertilizer steals from you. Long-term health for short-term gain. Don't let your soil become a slave to the bag. Let it breathe. Let it live. The microbe army inside horse manure that fights plant disease naturally. Forget sprays and powders. The best disease defense for your garden is already alive, and it's in horse manure. Not only does it feed the soil, it introduces beneficial bacteria that outcompete harmful pathogens. It's like having a microscopic security force guarding your roots 24/7. These microbes build resilience. I've seen gardens surrounded by blight and rot stay green and healthy just because the soil was alive. Chemical fertilizers, on the other hand, often kill these helpers. They sterilize the soil, making it an open buffet for disease. Nature doesn't need chemicals to defend itself. It needs balance. When you use manure, you're not just feeding plants, you're strengthening their immune system from the ground up. That's something no factory can bottle. How to use manure without burning your plants or your nose. Want it smell? Won't it burn my plants? I hear that a lot. The trick is simple. Compost it. Fresh manure is strong. But let it sit, mix it with straw or leaves, turn it every week, and in 6 to 12 weeks, you'll have a dark, crumbly material that smells like forest soil. That's black gold. It won't burn roots. It spreads easily. And best of all, it's loaded with slow-release nutrients. If you're nervous, start small. Mix it with your compost pile or bury it in trenches during the fall. By spring, it's pure magic. I once saw a rose bush come back from the dead thanks to 2 shovelfuls of aged manure. Nature works on her own timeline, but when you learn to work with her, she gives back in abundance. Why soil is more than dirt, and how the Amish treat it like a living thing. To most people, soil is just dirt, something to walk on. But to a seasoned grower, or to any Amish family, it's a living, breathing ecosystem. It has structure, texture, mood. Treat it well and it gives back. Treat it like a dead medium and it dies. That's the truth. I've seen old-timers pick up a handful of soil, squeeze it, and say more in a minute than a scientist says in a report. If it crumbles, it's healthy. If it cakes up, it's sick. The Amish know this instinctively. They never compact the ground. They feed it with manure not just for nutrition, but for life. Worms, fungi, bacteria, they're the real workers. And when they're happy, your plants thrive. You don't fix bad soil with more products. You fix it with care. Respect the soil. Remembers. The rest year. Why not? Planting anything might be the best thing you do. It feels wrong to leave part of your garden empty. You want every inch growing something. But here's a truth the Amish figured out long ago. Rest is not waste, it's recovery. After 3 years of planting corn, beans, and squash, they give the land a break. But not a bare break. They plant cover crops like clover or ryegrass. These plants feed the soil, protect it from erosion, and give bugs and microbes time to rebuild. It's like crop therapy. I once saw a plot that had been resting under clover for 9 months. It looked better than most fertilized beds. Deep roots, fluffy soil, and not a weed in sight. The next season, record harvest. So don't fear the fallow. Use it smart. It's not lazy, it's wisdom. Horse manure versus cow manure. Which one wins in a garden? You've probably heard that cow manure is safer, more balanced. That's true in part. But horse manure? It's hotter, richer in nitrogen, and breaks down faster. If you compost it right, it becomes a superfood for plants. Cows digest slowly. Horses don't. That means their manure contains more undigested organic matter. Perfect for composting. I've used both side by side. The horse-manured tomatoes grew faster and stronger. The cow-manured bed did fine but slower. Bottom line, if you can get either for free, do it. But if you have to choose and can compost it yourself, go with horse. Just don't apply it raw. Let it mature. Then watch your plants thank you. No-till gardening. Why the Amish rarely turn the soil. Most modern gardeners are taught to till. Flip the soil, break it up, start fresh. But the Amish rarely do. They understand something science is only now catching up to. Every time you till, you destroy a tiny underground city. Fungal networks, worm tunnels, root channels, all torn apart. Instead, they layer compost, manure, and mulch on top, just like nature does. The result? Fewer weeds, less watering, and more resilient plants. I've seen gardens that haven't been tilled in 10 years still produce better than freshly turned ones. Want to save your back and grow more? Stop tilling. Let the soil settle into its own rhythm. Less effort, more results. How to start a manure compost pile. Even if you're in the suburbs, you don't need a barn to use manure. Even in the suburbs, you can compost safely. No smell, no mess. Start with a corner of your yard. Use pallets to build a simple bin. Layer manure with leaves, straw, or even shredded newspaper. Turn it once a week. Keep it moist, not soaked. In 2 to 3 months, you'll have rich black compost. I've seen neighbors compost in trash cans, old kiddie pools, and even cardboard boxes. It's not about fancy setups. It's about the right ingredients. Don't let space stop you. Nature finds a way, and so can you. How to tell if your garden soil is sick, and what to do about it. Sick soil hides in plain sight. Your plants look tired. Water runs off instead of soaking in. Earthworms are gone. That's your garden crying out. The fix isn't another bag of fertilizer. It's healing the soil. Add composted manure. Mulch with straw. Plant cover crops. Avoid walking on garden beds. I once helped a friend restore a dead garden using just manure and patience. By the second season, the worms were back. The lettuce looked like it came from a magazine. Don't wait for your garden to die. Listen to it. Heal it. Mulch and manure. The garden dream team you're probably ignoring. Mulch without food dries out. Manure without cover washes away. But together, they work magic. The Amish often spread composted manure in spring, then mulch thickly with straw, leaves, or wood chips. Moisture stays in. Weeds stay out. Microbes thrive in the protected layer. Over time, the mulch breaks down and feeds the soil further. I've tried this combo in raised beds, in-ground beds, even flower gardens. Always the same result. Rich soil, fewer problems. Nature doesn't leave ground bare. Neither should you. The smell test. Why aged manure doesn't stink and what that tells you. People think manure always stinks. But properly composted manure? It smells like fresh earth. That's how you know it's ready. If it still smells sharp or sour, it needs more time. I always tell beginners, your nose knows. Good composted manure crumbles in your hand. It doesn't smear. It doesn't reek. I've had visitors walk through a garden and say, "This smells amazing. What is that?" They were standing over manure. Aging it right not only makes it safer for plants, it makes it more pleasant for people. Your garden doesn't have to be a barnyard. It can be a sanctuary. Raised beds and manure. A match made in garden heaven. If you garden in raised beds, manure is your best friend. Why? Because raised beds dry out and deplete faster than ground-level plots. They need constant nourishment. I fill mine with composted manure every fall and top off again in spring. It keeps the soil light, fluffy, and rich. Root crops like carrots and beets grow straight and sweet. Leafy greens thrive. And because the beds are contained, it's easy to control runoff and smell. You don't need much, just a couple of inches mixed in. I've been doing this for 12 years. My raised beds outlast and outperform my neighbors every season. What garden stores won't tell you about soil health? They'll sell you fertilizer, soil amendments, boosters, sprays. But they won't tell you the truth. None of it works without healthy soil life. You can't buy microbes in a bottle. You grow them with organic matter, manure, mulch, and time. I once watched someone spend $800 on premium soil. 3 months later it was dead, because it had no biology. The Amish don't fall for that. They build their soil season by season. If garden stores told the truth, they'd be out of business. That's the dirty little secret. You don't need more products. You need better practices. How to store and use manure year-round without wasting it. Don't just dump manure and hope. Store it right. Build a compost bin or pile it under a tarp. Let it cook. In winter, stockpile. In spring, apply. In summer, side dress. In fall, prep for next year. I keep a rotation going. One pile aging, one fresh, one ready. Nothing gets wasted. Even liquid runoff, manure tea, can be collected and diluted for watering. Think of manure as a year-round tool, not a seasonal one. Used wisely, it becomes your garden's pantry. The one plant trick to test if your soil's really healthy. Want a free soil test? Plant some beans. Seriously, beans are nitrogen fixers, but they only thrive if the soil biology is right. If they grow strong, you've got a living soil. If they turn yellow and struggle, something's off. I use beans as early testers every year. They tell me what's happening underground better than any lab test. They're like canaries in the coal mine, except tastier. Why Amish gardens don't need pesticides, and yours might not either. The Amish don't reach for spray bottles. They build healthy ecosystems. Diverse crops, rotation, cover crops, and manure-rich soil. Pests hate strong plants. Diseases can't thrive in balanced soil. I've walked through Amish plots in midsummer. No pesticides, no powder, and yet the plants look flawless. That's the power of prevention. You can do the same. It starts below the surface. Build strong soil. Attract beneficial bugs. Rotate wisely. Spray less. Grow more. How one garden fed a family for 50 years without a single chemical. It sounds like a fairy tale, but I've seen it. A 30 by 50-foot plot fed with manure, compost, and rotated every year. No chemicals. No synthetic fertilizer. Just horse manure and care. It produced tomatoes, corn, beans, squash, and greens year after year. The couple who tended it, both over 70. They called it our little grocery store. And it was. I visited after a frost and saw kale still thriving. Why? Because the soil was warm, rich, and alive. That garden taught me everything. You don't need products. You need patience. And maybe a good shovel.